Hey, hi, hello, and welcome. Today we are going to be going through all of my books that I read in the month of April. I kind of was cruising at the beginning, not going to lie. It kind of petered out towards the end, so we did still end up with 8 books total read, much like January and I believe February too. I had a ton of time to myself, specifically because the month of April is 5 weeks that I was completely recovering from my hip surgery. So definitely, especially in the beginning, that's why there was a lot read at once, but definitely had a lot of time to read. So some stats. Like I said, there was 8 books total read. So that was 2 YA mysteries, 3 romances, and then 3 dystopian novels. So let's get into it. So the first book that I read finished out the Inheritance Games series, The Brothers Hawthorne. I gave this a 3 stars. Personally, I felt like I could have probably done without this book. It just kind of gave a little bit to the whole like original trilogy, but not much. I'm a big Jameson fan, but honestly, I didn't really like his storyline. It's kind of told in 2 perspectives of Grayson and Jameson. They both went on their own like adventures that they were going and doing, and so you're kind of following along with that. And I definitely liked Grayson's storyline and adventure that he was doing. I thought that mystery was actually what do I want to say, wrapped into the original like storyline of him a little bit better, versus I think the adventure that Jameson and mystery he went on, I don't know, I just really wasn't into it that much. I think I could have done without knowing all of that. So yeah, I gave that 3 stars. Next we have Love Theoretically by Hazelwood. I gave this 3.5 stars. I absolutely loved, they had such good banter. It was definitely an enemies to lovers storyline. I thought it was really interesting to see her navigate her way through a career in STEM, especially being a woman. Just seeing all those difficulties that she has with people discrediting her just because she's a woman. But yes, this had such good dialogue, such good banter. She always does really well with that, and I loved that. The only thing I didn't really like is that I felt the storyline is like very, very similar to the other 2 books that I've read by her. Love on the Brain and then Love Hypothetically. Hypothetically, is that it? The Love Hypothesis. So those 2 books also involves them being in STEM. I just felt like the whole general plot of it was just very similar to those 2. Not that I didn't like that, but I just was looking for a little something different. But Elsie and Jack. Elsie and Jack, so cute. So overall, it was a really good book, but 3.5 stars. So my goal with recovery, since I can't really get out of the house much, I can now, but especially at the beginning, it was really hard. And I have way too many physical books that I have not read yet. So my goal is definitely to like bring down that number of physical TBR. But I did manage to sneak in a few new releases. So next we have Summer in the City by Aster. I got this a couple days after it came out because I kept seeing this all over TikTok, and I was like, I need to read this, and I need to read this now. So I kind of broke my rule a little bit with buying new books. But So good. Absolutely loved it. I gave it a 4.25 stars. I know it's really specific, but it was so good. And it's such a 2000s rom-com. That's the vibes I got from it, for sure. My jaw was just on the floor anytime Parker did some sort of billionaire thing. Anytime he just like would do anything to drop his money for her, my jaw was just on the floor. So I had to go back and tab this and annotate this because it was just so good. I have some things, I even like, this is the first time I've done this. Usually I just tab things that I like, but this time I did specific color tabs for specific things that I liked about it and kind of categorized it, which I've never really done before. But so the different categories I did was like poetic words. There were just certain lines that I think were so beautifully and well written that were just chef's kiss. The other one is laughed out loud because it was so funny at times. Absolutely funny. Next was genuine. Anytime that he would do something that was just so like genuine for her, you just knew that he was in love. And then the last one was jaw on the floor. So like I said, anytime that Parker would do something unhinged and just drop all of his money for her, jaw on the floor. Like, you spent what to do what? But so good. Their chemistry is amazing. He understood her so much. The only thing I didn't like is she had this like struggle internally with herself by not wanting to like fall in love and actually date him because of like her views on money. And I like understood it, but also I was like, okay, but like, you know your worth. You know that like you aren't relying on him for that, and like that's not why you're with him. So just like get over it. You love him, okay? Just fall in love with the man, get with him. And then next we have another new release, Say You'll Remember Me. I did manage to get this in paperback. I pre-ordered this from a UK, I don't know if it's her like UK publisher, but anyways, Abby Jimenez said something to get it on this one website that's the UK version if you wanted it in paperback. So the font is the only thing that's like literally different about the title. Like everything else is the same, but I managed to get it in paperback and it was so much cheaper and it was free shipping from the UK. So I will take that over the hardcover any day. Ow! My cat just clawed me because she's stupid and stepped on something that wasn't stable. Anywho, I ended up giving this a 4 stars. And while that's still really good, personally, I always end up giving Abby Jimenez books 5 stars because they are just that good. But there was something in this one that was a little lacking for me. I know a lot of people have said the same thing. She still has like that deep emotional connection and she does like the mental health and everything so well. So there was that. That's why I loved it. But for me, I didn't really like the long distance trope and how it was done. And I say that because majority of this book is spent with them like living across the country from each other and just like them interacting like over phone basically, and like all these little things going on in each other's lives like separately. And I get that that's very real for a lot of people, but I just wanted a little bit more of them physically being together. It was like right in the beginning before she moved, and then he went and visited her like, I don't know, they visited each other like 2 or 3 times, I don't even remember, and then like right at the end. But that was all you got. And like when they were visiting each other, it was just for like a weekend basically. I don't know, it just like wasn't doing it for me. Wanted to see them more together and interacting together in the same space. Whatever. Stop. But anyways, can you stop? You're shaking the camera. Come here. Okay, she's gonna be needy now and needs to be held. Anywho, Xavier and Samantha are so cute together, and I loved them. Moving on. Then I read this YA mystery, You'll Be the Death of Me. This is my downfall of the month. This is where things... What was the reason? Anywho, this put me in a slump. This took me a while to read, and then I didn't want to pick up a book after it because I was just like in such a reading slump from this. I gave this a 2 stars. So basically the whole thing is that these 3 high schoolers ditch school and they go off into the city because they just wanted to avoid school for the day. They stumble upon a murder of one of their classmates. Just gonna say that. And then they accidentally like start becoming involved in it, and like they just kept putting themselves more and more involved for no reason. Like there was no reason that this whole plot line even needed to happen. The girl is such a perfectionist, and her parents are away and coming home, and her mom's like receiving this big award that night, and she didn't want this whole mess of a day to ruin her mom's big night. But like literally it's not. Like someone just reported seeing a young blonde that like fits her description, but that's literally it. That could be however many people. And just because people are speculating her because she skipped school that day and she never does. Like literally such the lamest of connections to her to this murder, and she's just trying to clear her name for this the entire rest of the day. So then they just keep putting themselves more and more involved in this whole situation that could have been all avoided. What was the reason? Just walk away from it. Like there is no reason you guys needed to play the hero and solve this murder. Absolutely none. So absolutely hated this book. 2 stars. Then I started my reading of all of the Hunger Games books in consecutive order. I'm still kind of working on that right now, but I had actually never... Maybe I shouldn't put that in. No, you know what? Who cares? I literally have never read the Hunger Games books. The original trilogy, never actually read them as a kid. Watched the movies several times, but never actually read the books. So that was on my radar to just like read those for once. And then never read this when it originally came out. Watched the movie. And then the new one, Sunrise on the Reaping, came out, and everyone was talking all about it. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be the start of my whole like consecutive reread of everything. Need to read this. So read this one, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, gave it 5 stars because it is so good. Just reading about Snow's story and reading his story from his perspective really gives you that perspective of why he is the way he is. Because in the beginning, you're like, he's kind of like on the fence about all of this. Then you're like, okay, so he ends up being President Snow and he's so like capital, obviously. So what changed? He's so evil in the original 3. You know that. So it's like, what is going to happen? And it all just makes so much sense. And I remember watching this movie when it came out and just being like obsessed with it. For some reason, never got around to actually reading the book, but I wanted to give this a read reading Sunrise on the Reaping, because I had heard there's so many little connections And I just wanted a little bit of a refresher. Glad I did, because I really needed that when going into Sunrise on the Reaping. But yeah, so good. Ate it up. And then moving on, obviously, right after that, I read Sunrise on the Reaping. Again, 5 stars. Absolutely insane. I just can't. This is Haymitch's story and his games. I always had that thought after the first 3 of what made Haymitch the way he is. Like, he is such a drunk, not very nice. Everyone low-key kind of hates him. I knew there had to be a reasoning. So, this tells you, and this delivers. Because, oh my God. I applaud Haymitch for how he is later on, considering what happens in this book. I'm gonna make this spoiler free, okay? So many little connections, and it's like bam, 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 keeps hitting you, and you're like sobbing, absolutely sobbing. And I am so glad that I read this one before reading this, right before, because there really is such little connections that it's like, and now moving on, it's like, wow, there's a whole plot line that just is underneath. Oh, I don't want to spoil it, but such good connections. How did she think of this? In my mind, I'm like, there is no way that she didn't have these 2 planned somewhat in the back of her mind when she wrote the original 3. Like, there's no way. Like, they just all fit together so well. She had to have known. So, obviously, that leads me into the last book I read this month, The Hunger Games. Gave it 4 stars. I just gave it 4 stars because it was so well known, so nostalgic. Everything was fresh in my mind again of this whole story. So it's like, how do you rate something like that is just so good, but what everything that's going into it? I don't know. This has so many plot points, and I don't even know what I'm trying to say right now. I am just at a loss for words with everything. Anywho, Hunger Games, gave it 4 stars. Gonna continue on with Catching Fire and Mockingjay now to just round out the whole series. But I am just I finished Sunrise on the Reaping a few days ago now. It's been a few days, and I still can't get over it. I am just locked in. My TikTok is all about it. I need to talk to Nick about all of these little connections so bad, but I am making him actually read this book before he reads Sunrise on the Reaping, because I'm like, you need to know. You need a refresher so you can get all the little connections. So now I have to wait for him to read basically 2 whole books before I can talk to him about all of these things, and I'm just like, ah. So yeah, that is everything that I read in the month of April. If anyone has read Sunrise on the Reaping and they would like to have a little book club chat with me, please do it, because I need to get this out. It's consuming me. I have a few video ideas left. I don't know when they're gonna get out. Like I said, had hip surgery about a month ago now, so I've just kind of been focusing on that. But I'm trying to get content back out again, and we'll just take it day by day. So, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time.